Pisces, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for early to mid-June 2026. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business as always and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we can dip our toes in the energy and see what's happening for the lovely Pisces collective. Hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going here. My guide, spirit team, talk to me. What do we got for the beautiful Pisces collective? What do you have for us in early to mid-June? And yeah, what energies, messages, insights can we take a peek at? And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card. Then we'll get into the full reading itself. And at the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot, just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean into, which is always interesting. Let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Pisces, gang. What do you got for us? What's the vibe? What's the energy? Let's have ourselves a little fun here, my guides. Let's get this card out. There we go. Cool. Very peoply for some reason, Pisces. And again, this could be a lot of other things too. But like initially, whenever I get this card, it wouldn't surprise me if we have other court cards showing up in the main part of the spread. So there's just so many people. But before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the June subscriber surprise towards the end, so you might want to check that out. And also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, back into the reading. Let's talk more in depth about this card. So as you can see, we have this bald dude here, we have the lady, we have different pictures of people, we got shadows of people in the background, people everywhere. So first and foremost, this card can represent big groups or group dynamics. So like whether it's family members, co-workers, just a lot of people for some reason. For some Pisces, maybe you're a little extra people averse in this time when this card shows up, because sometimes this can represent feeling a little overwhelmed by too much other energy. So that's something I'd watch out for. Now, the good thing about this energy is the variety. It's an energy that keeps you on your toes, keeps you busy from like here, there, and everywhere. But I would absolutely watch out for any sort of like overwhelm, because if we're not talking about other people, this card always feels like a lot to me. Whether it's like I have a lot on my mind, I have a lot on my plate, I have a lot of things on, like I'm doing this and this and this. It's a very busy type of energy. So again, maybe Spirit wants you to keep yourself busy. Maybe it's like, maybe you need a break depending on what it is. But this card just always feels super people-y to me. There is also some sort of link here with social media that I reference from time to time. Not sure how that might fit what you're going through. But we're just going to put the people down there, and we'll see if any other themes show up, because that doesn't feel like yours. It feels like outside of you. So we're going to let them chill out. Let's get into tarot. And yeah, I always say that first card, it doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. So let's get you 3 tarot cards in the upright. Then we'll get into that intuitive juiciness. Shuffle it up one time here for Pisces, gang. And while we get this deck shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading. It was centered around communication. The reading was titled A Serious Talk. And I will say this, we went from several weeks of like really good, luscious energy. And then last week it was all swords. And we'll talk about the significance of that as we move forward in this reading. But it was a big vibe switch. Now, to me, it felt like either having a conversation of a serious nature, talking about a serious topic, all of those could have been in play. And that could be an energy that still bleeds over for a couple weeks. But we're going to see what shows up this week. As you know, energy is very fluid, never set in stone. So only take this how it hits for you, because we could be seeing your vibe or somebody else, right? Let's get it going. 3 cards here for Pisces, gang. What do we have in early to mid-June for our good friends? Good. Okay. So we're starting with the swords again. Got the 10 of swords in position number 1. Okay. Like, don't get freaked out about that. We'll see as we move forward through the reading how this all plays out. It's like we begin with a card of an ending. Okay. We got judgment in the center that came out. So, like, this energy definitely moves forward. Let's get one more. Let's see what this has. So, what do we got for Pisces? All right. King of Pentacles right here on the back end. Stabilization. Okay, so to me, the way the energy is already starting to show up is that it improves as it goes along, which I think is nice. But let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes, then we'll get into that juicy intuitive stuff. But at first glance, you know me, I always love to look at the elements. I feel like that really sets the tone and it paints a picture for us and tells us how the energy is going to be flowing. And we have air, earth, and this one is just like major Plutonian major arcana energy. It's just very intense, right? But the combination of air and earth are intriguing to me. Now, when it comes to the swords, like I said last week, was all swords. So it doesn't surprise me that we have the Ten of Swords right here in the front end. That's a lot of damn swords, right? But it's more about the mindset. It's more about like the mind, the logic. I always say when it comes to air and swords, it's logical, it's pragmatic, it's straightforward and to the point. It's not leading with the heart, it's leading with the mind. It's very strategic in its own way. It could deal with giving or receiving information or searching. So for some Pisces, maybe you just have a thirst for knowledge or information. Maybe there's something you're trying to understand or figure out when there's a lot of sword energy. And then obviously communication is the bedrock, especially of this. The downside to swords is that they could be a little flighty, they could be a little flaky, they could be a little harsh, a little cold. So that's something to watch out for, and it can represent overthinking. Now, on the back end with the Earth, much more stable, and that's why I'm already saying like we start here, but it stabilizes as we move along. With Earth, think of results. When we look at Earth, we think of stability, security, whether it's inward or outward. I think of routine, I think of day to day life. Every day at this time, I do this. It's like very strict and scheduled. It could be money, work, business, finance, all the material aspects of life, home and family. So you see what we go from like this little flighty energy into a very solid, predictable one, which could be very good. The only downside to the pentacles is that sometimes it could be a little stubborn, sometimes it could be a little set in stone, set in its ways. So that's something we need to watch out for. And then obviously we have the energetic intensity of judgment coursing through the center. But let's go through and start building this out piece by piece. Position number one, we start with the Ten of Swords. Not the nicest energy, right? And listen, a lot of you know I'm part of Pisces gang, myself as a Pisces rising. We're not nervous about this energy, right? Even though the imagery doesn't look too nice. But the Ten of Swords, as with all cards that can represent problems or situations, is always on a spectrum. So it could be something very minor, from feeling like a little gloomy or just having a couple of off days. It could be a little depression, anxiety, stress, nervousness. All of that can be in play. And it could be minor, but it could also be pretty major, right? This could represent endings, rough and tough endings. It could represent pain and loss and all that kind of stuff. And we're not going to dwell on it. But the good thing, and believe it or not, even one of the roughest cards in the tarot deck does have a silver lining. The good thing about the Ten of Swords is that there's nowhere to go but up from here, where it's like, okay, that happened, that is what it is, nowhere to go but up. So I don't want to say it's like a rock bottom type of card, but it's like, okay, well, that happened, now we move forward. That's what I always say with the Ten of Swords. So it's not necessarily terrible. I mean, but we are starting with an ending as well. So for some of you, there might be certain things, chapters closing off with the Ten of Swords. We really need to clarify to get like a better idea of the undertone. Now, moving to the middle, we have Judgment. Okay, Archangel Gabriel, the communicator. So funny that last week we're all about conversation. Now we have the swords, the communication suit. We have the archangel that deals with communication. That's still in play here. But judgment could be a lot of different things. Now, anytime I see angelic energy, to me, it represents spiritual protection, which is very good since it comes up right next to the Ten of Swords. So for a lot of Pisces, there might be certain things that are actually a blessing in disguise because spirit might be shielding you from something or an event of some kind. But judgment could be decisions, choices, making literal judgment calls, making actual decisions. That's a big thing with this card. If it's not communication, it is change, transformation. It's a powerful shift of energy. Remember, this is Plutonian and it's rapid, it's explosive. So, like when we go from the Ten of Swords, Judgment, to the King of Pentacles, that could be a very rapid change or turnaround in something. That's very possible. And we'll see when we start clarifying it. But yeah, this is a big change. So watch out for that. And again, life is about perpetual change, but sometimes things change faster than others. Judgment is all about action as well. The only it could sometimes represent revisiting things popping back up as well, but we'll see what that has when we get to it. Now on the back end, we do have the King of Pentacles. You might be connected to an Earth sign, so Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus. If that's not the case, kings always represent control of their respective suit. We already spoke about the Earth. So when I see the King of Pentacles, it is grounded, it is safe, it is predictable. It represents blessings and abundance. This is a card of wins and victories to me. So I love that we go from a card of loss or a difficult energy into one that is really damn good. So this could be nice depending on how the rest of this reading flows out. Now, just like other cards, I mean, whether this is someone controlling their money, doing business things, doing work things, the only downside with the King of Pentacles is the stubborn nature, right? Because sometimes the King of Pentacles is like, oh, no, I said what I said. That's what it is. Yeah, the King of Pentacles for sure can be an energy that's kind of set in its ways. So, which is odd for a Pisces because Pisces are generally more adaptable, right? But I want to dive deeper on all this, Pisces. Let's do it. Let's jump in and clarify. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here. And yes, this is where I go intuitive with the message. Which means I just tell you how it feels to me, so feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot. Because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on that Ten of Swords. And yeah, if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Pisces gang, you could drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. Okay, why is the Ten of Swords here? Quick. Death in reverse, huh? Interesting. Okay, so yeah, this does absolutely represent to me something that potentially has already happened, which I guess is a good thing. It's kind of like ripping the band-aid off. Now, Death in the Upright is very similar to the Ten of Swords. They have a lot of very similar, and again, don't get all freaked out by this. It's just energy, right? It's on a spectrum. Just always keep that in mind. And another thing I want to mention, especially when dealing with difficult energies, every tarot reading is just an energetic weather report, right? Like none of this is ever completely set in stone. Your perception, your creative powers as a creative being trump everything when it comes to these readings. This is just an energetic weather report. So keep that in mind. But Death in reverse to me is an energy that's not so over, right? Like if this was in the upright underneath the Ten of Swords, I'd be like, oh, that's toast. Like, oh yeah, that's in the books. These are both cards of endings. But when I see it in reverse underneath this Ten of Swords, it's like, okay, that's not ideal. That's painful, but there's still some unfinished business, so to speak, or an unfinished situation. So for some Pisces, I've been seeing this linger in a few other signs. There could be certain things that are still lingering with you in your energy. And it's like, no, this feels unfinished for whatever reason. Now, Death in reverse could also sometimes represent things coming back around, things popping back up. But again, the main thing I'm looking at is where we progress because this energy is what it is. We'll call it whatever it is, whether it's a difficult situation, whether it's a big problem, whether it is an ending, it could be any and all of those things. The energy doesn't stagnate there, the energy moves forward. That's what I'm really interested in. Not where we are here, but where we wind up. That's the thing. So we're going to keep going. So that is what it is. And this could be someone else's energy too, for all we know, right? Let's see what Judgment has. So why is Judgment here for Pisces, gang? Why is Judgment here? Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we have the Ace of Pentacles in reverse underneath Judgment. Yeah, revisiting type of energy. So yeah, this whole thing I was seeing in the beginning about like feeling like there's unfinished business or an unfinished situation. That's still in play here heavily on the front end. But aside from that, when I see Judgment, the card of change and transformation with the Ace of Pentacles in reverse, to me, it's like you don't really have to do anything outside of the ordinary to make this energy do a switch or do a flip. It's like the energy progresses how it needs to. So it's like you don't have to force anything. You don't have to pressure anything. You just need to let something run through its paces. You just need to let something elapse how it needs to. You need to let it go through the process. Now, the Ace of Pentacles, as with all aces, represents offers, opportunities, fresh new energy, communication. So, yeah, when I see it in reverse underneath Judgment, we still have this unfinished type of energy where it's like, okay, I'm not moving on to this Ace of Pentacles because I still got to figure this out, whatever this is. But for another portion of you, watch out for communication issues for sure. Like with Judgment, the Ace of Pentacles in reverse, watch out for miscommunications. But the main thing I'm picking up here, especially with this powerful like 180, this like sudden or explosive change, is that it's like it just kind of works itself out or it kind of just does it on its own. So sometimes the best action is to just let something elapse or work out how it needs to, right? We're just going to keep moving. So the energy does do the shift, but I want to see how it turns out in the end. That's my big thing. Then we'll do a recap before we get into the shadow. So why is the King of Pentacles here? How's the King of Pentacles here for Pisces, gang? Thank you. Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. So we have the Queen of Wands in the upright underneath this King of Pentacles. What is the Queen of Wands about, my good friends? If you're not connected to a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, the Queen of Wands to me represents self-confidence, self-love, self-care. So when I see her in the upright underneath the King of Pentacles, this is an energy that is radiating. This is an energy that's feeling high vibrational, where like whatever this is, whatever this energy is that shows up in the beginning, once it goes through its process, this energy is better for it for some reason. Where it's like, you know what, that needed to happen for this to happen. So it's like we start with an ending and then we end with a win. So it is like one of those odd types of readings where it's like we have a win and a loss here at the same time. But I do feel that I would much prefer it this way than the other way around, honestly. Like if we started with the King of Pentacles and the Queen of Wands and ended with the Ten of Swords, Death in reverse, then I would be much more concerned because then I would feel like I have a million questions and I have a lot of stuff and this isn't resolved. To me, the energy works how it needs to. So there is like this win or victory in the end, which I think is great for the shift or change of energy. Now, for those of you that were in a situation or something going on where you were here and the energy flipped this way, don't be surprised if it flips back the other way, because that's how this feels. It's like the energy does a flip and then a flip. It's like a 180. So there is still this powerful, explosive, change-based energy cutting right down the center. But yeah, the King of Pentacles, Queen of Wands in the upright, it's radiating, it's glowing, it's confident, it feels great, solid, and stable. So I can't help but feel, regardless of what all this stuff means, that there is a good end result, or the energy at least repairs itself. But it doesn't need to be pressurized. Let's go through and do a quick recap, then we'll get into the shadow. But if you kindly look in the box, position number one, you would think that this would be a huge warning, and maybe for some of you it is. But when I see the Ten of Swords with Death in reverse, that to me feels like an unhealed wound, an open scab of swords, where there could be like unfinished business or an unfinished situation showing up right there. Where it's like, oh, that sucks, but there's more to come. Moving to the middle, and again, these could be endings, right? But in the center, we have Judgment with the Ace of Pentacles in reverse, where it's like, I don't have to pressure anything. I don't have to do anything specific to allow this energy to shift or change, because it's like I have an energy that does a rapid flip, like a sudden change or an explosive change. It shows up heavily right here in the center. I'd say the only thing to watch out for is communication issues, but this still also has that unfinished air about it. Moving to the back end, though, is what I really like, and what I think we should all focus on most is the end result. King of Pentacles, Queen of Wands. It feels bright, it feels radiating. We start with a loss, we end with a win. And it's like this energy is better for this, whatever this is, whether it's a lesson or something else. So I love where we end up. And just know, if you were here and went there, or whatever way it went, it's like changeable, it's malleable. So please take a screenshot if you want to look into it further. Let's see what's in the shadows. And yes, I always like to pull a shadow card at the very end just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge. They could be a good thing. So let's get you one. And yeah, if you made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel, and I have much love for all my channel members. All right, let's get this going here. What do we got for Pisces gang? What do we got for Pisces gang? Thank you. Cool. Three of Cups, cool. So that's actually one of the positive shadow cards. There is something to watch out for with it, and of course, I'll give you both sides of the coin. But usually the Three of Cups, remember how we started the reading with that very people-y type of card? The Three of Cups is one of those as well. So again, if you're not feeling too social, if you're not feeling too people-y, it's okay. You could be in hermit mode if you need to, because some Pisces might be a little extra averse to too many people and too much energetic stimulus. But normally to me, the Three of Cups is a cause for celebration, having a good time, letting loose. It's usually people sharing a toast. So it does tie into what we have here on the back end, where even though this is in the shadows, it's, yeah, but everything works out. That's how this feels to me, which I think is beautiful. But the only downside or shadow side that comes in with the Three of Cups is because it is such an indulgent energy. It's an energy that's having a lot of fun, having a good time. There could be spirits saying like, hey, Pisces, maybe you should have certain limits on certain things that you indulge in this time. Like, don't overdo it. Have fun, but not too much fun, if you get my drift, when this energy is here. But yeah, watch out for complicated situations dealing with other people too. So we're going to leave it at that, Pisces. That's what I got for you this week, my friends. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details of the June subscriber surprise. If you would like further insight on your situation or you'd like to have a chat with me, you can book a personal session with me on my website, mastermetaphysics.com. My June calendar is live and spots go quick, so you could go check that out. But for the June subscriber surprise, doing another winner's choice. The winners, which will be 3, will have a choice between either the Everyday Witches Tarot, which is a lovely tarot deck, one of my all-time favorites, or you can choose a custom pendant from my website, mastermetaphysics.com. So if you'd like to get your name in for that, it's 2 simple things. As always, my friends, first, you must be subscribed. And second, let me know down in the comments, out of all the tarot cards in the deck, which one do you feel represents you and your energy best? You could even pick multiple if you'd like. You'll be entered to win, and at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in my community tab /post tab. My friends, much love, and I'll see you soon.